Today is the day. After 6 grueling weeks of competition, in which we participated in 30 matches of Magic the Gathering, just hoping and praying for a chance to climb the leaderboards just enough to creep into the coveted top 8, we have arrived at the beginning of the end of this series. 121 players entered and just 8 are awarded the opportunity to participate in a top 8 MegaDraft to take home the title of Foundations Gauntlet League champion. After a league-wide 1,313 matches, our 30 matches were just enough to award us one of those precious top 8 spots. On your screen now you can see who joined us in the top 8 and who we will be competing against in today's top 8 MegaDraft. Our 21-9 record was good enough for 5th place, but none of that matters now as records reset and there are just 3 matches left. The format of the top 8 MegaDraft is sure to be an interesting one. We will be doing a 6-pack draft, which is notably different than the usual 3, in the order of the packs you see on your screen right now. At the end of the draft, we will build a 60-card deck and battle an assigned opponent in a best of 3 match for the right to be crowned league champion. But there's a twist. The format we will be playing is Conquest Brawl. Now let's start with the second word there, Brawl. For those of you that haven't played Brawl before, it's essentially 1v1 Commander. At the beginning of the draft, we have each been provided with the 20 uncommon multicolor legends from DMU to act as our commanders. If we find a better commander in any of our packs, we're welcome to use them, but we don't have to. Now, this is a singleton format, so taking any duplicates of cards won't provide us any advantage. Once we have our deck, we must assign our deck to different commanders, and to win a match, you must win 1 game with each of your commanders at the helm. It's sure to be a wild format, but I'm excited. I think that covers today's formalities, so without any further ado, let's dive into the Foundations Gauntlet League Top 8 MegaDraft. Alright, here we are, we made it. With pack 1, pick 1. Let's dive right in. Starting with Foundations, we've got a pretty bad pack here, unfortunately. Omniscience, no. Anthem of Champions, I mean, we're playing like a Chaos Draft format, so maybe Anthem of Champions could be good. It's kind of limiting taking this early here. I got Healer's Hawk Eaten Alive. I mean, Gnarlid Colony, we've got the land here. Gosh, this is just a really, really underwhelming pack 1, pick 1. I mean, maybe we can wheel this reinforcements, but I doubt it. There's like not very many cards in here that I would really be happy putting into a deck. I mean, Healer's Hawk, maybe. There's no life gain deck among the DMU commanders, and there's not even a flying deck. So I'm going to take the Anthem of Champions. I think it has the highest upside, but I'm not thrilled about it. Now, there is a Tatiova here, which we could use as a commander. So that's kind of interesting. There's an Ashroot Animist as well. The green-red commanders in DMU, I think, are among the worst ones. I'm going to reserve Tatiova for now. I'm not putting a ton of weight into the Anthem of Champions pick. There's a Big Fin Bouncer as well. I think it's between the two, the uncommon and the rare, but the Tatiova is pretty good. We have access to Nael, Avazoa, Aeronaut, and a different Tatiova for the green-blue commanders in DMU here. I've got my note right up here. I'm going to see how many times I can forget to not make duplicate picks here today because it is Brawl, but I'm going to see what I can do. I think I'm going to take the Tatiova. This could be a really interesting Brawl commander if we're able to make that work, and maybe you can pick up an Elfsworn Giant on the wheel. There's also a Dwynen here. Dreadwing Scavenger is a great card, don't get me wrong. Treetop Snare Spinner is good. Dwynen could kind of go in either of these decks that we're drafting. It is also a legendary creature, notably. If for some reason we're able to make Elves work, I doubt we will be able to, but you never know. I do like the Dreadwing Scavenger. This is in pod play, so, you know, hate drafting could be a thing. Not this early, obviously. We're talking like late in the pack when you don't really have much else for you. My goodness. I thought my cough was gone. It's still here. The snare spinner is interesting. I think we're just going to keep trying to stay green as long as we can. So I think it's between Dwynen and the snare spinner here. And I don't think we're going to end up with such a high elf count that this is going to make that much of a difference. But I do think it's a decent card that I'm going to go ahead and take. Now we've got the Soulstone Sanctuary. If our lands end up being good enough, if we're green-white, I mean, there's a Truffle Snout, which could go in either of these decks, honestly. There's also the Cackling Prowler. My face is covering a couple of these, but I know what they are here. Goldvein Pick, Squad Rallier. There's a Refute, for the Tatiova life, but I'm going to try to continue to stay green for as long as I can until these drafters hear that, I will be green and you guys will have to figure out what you're going to be around that. So let's take the Truffle Snout here. Now is a moment where I probably want to verge from that plan. We've got the Inspiring Call, which I don't think is a very good card, but also Giant Growth, and there's a Prideful Parent to go back with the Anthem of Champions plan. There's also Skyship Buccaneer and Uncharted Voyage. I mean, I do think the Prideful Parent is really, really good with the Anthem of Champions, obviously. The green-white uncommons aren't great in DMU. One of them cares about going wide, which Prideful Parent does. The other one cares about Domain, which is not... Although, I mean, whenever it becomes tapped, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with toughness less than the number of basic lands. So you basically just put a counter on all your X1 creatures. This is a tough one here. I think I'm going to take the Parrot over the Voyager and the Voyage and the Buccaneer, but I could be convinced that's wrong. Now we've got Paladin and Sarah Angel and Felidar Guardian. Felidar Savior, sorry. Felidar Guardian, what are we playing? Pioneer? Or Band Pioneer? I don't even know. Sarah Angel, I do like the Felidar Savior. I mean, green is starting to dry up a little bit. It's good news that there's some decent white cards here. Sarah Angel seems like it could be pretty good. I don't like the Erudite Wizard, so I think I'm going to take the Felidar Savior and see if green-white ends up being open for us. We're pick 7 now. Another Inspiring Call. Broken Wings for the sideboard. These decks are played with sideboards, even if your commander changes. Now we've also got Squad Rallier. I don't think I need to care about that too much. I'm going to go ahead and take a sideboard card here. Fishing Pole. Not much. Inspiring Call. No thanks. Go ahead and take that here. Okay, pick 8, and the green-white cards are still here. There's also a Thornwood Falls for Tatiova. I think it's pretty strong taking Tatiova as a potential second commander, but if blue-green is not open enough, then maybe it's not particularly good. Cathar Commando, while it's not great at Foundations, we're not playing Foundations right now. We're playing, Brawl MegaDraft, so... We've got a Chaos Draft here. I'd probably take Savannah Lions as well. And if neither of these were here, I think I'd go with the Thornwood Falls. But let's go ahead and take the Cathar Commando. And Gnarlid Colony did wheel. There's the Omniscience. Ambush Wolf as well. I'm trying to think. I don't think any of the sets that we're drafting after this have a +1/+1 counters deck in green-white. But, Gnarlid Colony is a 2-mana 2/2 or a 5-mana 5/5. Sorry, a 5-mana 4/4 that gives trample to all your +1/+1 counter creatures. I swear my sinuses were much better before recording this. Now, after talking so much, they're just going crazy. Really nothing here. I'm not going to play a Heir Apparent. I mean, I can only play one. I don't think it's worth hate drafting any of this stuff, though, so I'm probably just going to go ahead and put the Heir Apparent into the sideboard. Just to send the signal that white is cut off, stay out, please. What card could somebody want to play here? I mean, maybe we could play an Icewind Elemental if we go into the Tatiova deck. I guess the best card here is Surstrike if someone's aggressive, maybe? That's a late Uncharted Voyage. Okay, not too bad. All right, let's see if we can open in DMU here. Pretty set up for green-white, but I think we have outs to be green-blue as well. Not the best Foundations start here, but, you know, I think we'll take it. That is a legendary creature. When it enters, choose a card type other than creature or land. Spells of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast, and then you can blink it. That's interesting. There's also a Mossbeard Ancient, 7 mana, 7/7 trample, ETBs gain 5 life. That's pretty good for our deck. There's a Tangled Islet as well. The Bog Badger has black, and I don't think we're going to be playing black, so I'm not going to go ahead and take that. Soaring Drake, no thank you. I'm wondering if taking Sten is worth it here. I mean, if we get cut, we do have, you know, Uncharted Voyage, Elemental, Felidar, Prideful, and Cathar Commando. We could think about getting out of green and playing Sten. Now, the other blue-white commanders care about instants and sorceries. The DMU blue-white commanders. You know, we have an Uncharted Voyage for that already. I could take the Mossbeard Ancient here. I just don't think I need to. Plus our green-white deck, although Juniper Order Root Weaver, this could even wheel. I'm going to go ahead and take the Sten and see if we can find ourselves into that, potentially. We don't have to, though. Okay, you may cast an instant or sorcery for with 1 or 2 from your hand. Target player mills 4, and then you can exile instant or sorcery from your graveyard, copy it, cast the copy. Fine. Wingmantle Chaplain, we're not going to be drafting the Defender deck. There's a Deathbloom Gardener. The Root Walla is 4 mana to give it +2/+2, as our domain is not going to be very high. There's also a Deathbloom Gardener we won't be fixing necessarily. I think I could take the Founding the Third Path here. Is this a pretty bad pack? I mean, there's the Deathbloom Gardener, but I don't think that's what we're really going for. This could be good in any number of decks we could take. Looks like we got a little bit of a disconnection, but that's okay. They'll come back. We've got Founding the Third Path reserved right now. And I think that's what I'll take. I'm not missing out on a lot by passing these other cards. There's one of the default commanders here. Valiant Veteran, Take Up the Shield. Yeah, Take Up the Shield is really good for both green-white and potentially blue-white if we're still thinking one or the other here. Valiant Veteran, I don't think we're going to really end up with enough soldiers to make that matter. So let's go ahead and take Up the Shield. And not really miss out on a ton. Now, if you draft an additional one of these, you can put it into your main deck if you aren't commandering it necessarily, but that's not necessarily for us right now. So we'll take Up the Shield. Now we've got Counterspell, Research, Impulse. There's a Bite Down, a Sojourner, which isn't going to be great because our domain count isn't very high. The Elfane Worm, 5 mana, 5/4 Vigilance, Trample, not too bad. I think I'm going to go back towards green for a moment, although Destroy Evil is also quite good. And right now I think we're kind of going between blue-white and green-white. Tetiova is probably off the table. And Destroy Evil's a pretty good pickup for both of those decks. Bite Down is as well. Yeah, I think I'll take the Destroy Evil here. Alright, the Juniper Order Root Weaver. We could wheel another one, in which case we wouldn't want to take this one. There's 2 blue-green cards here. When it enters, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Pretty good. Costs 7 mana. to do that. Soaring Drake. I think I'll take the Root Weaver. There's also Faith Bonder. You know what? I think I'm actually going to try and risk wheeling the other Root Weaver. As good as this card would be for us. Not a lot of good blue, not any really good white, except for this, which would be required to be played in green-white. But the Faith Bonder seems pretty good for a green-white, more assertive deck here. So I think I'm going to take the Faith Bonder and try to wheel the other Root Weaver. Okay. So this is 3 mana, search your library for a basic, put on the battlefield, tap. If it was kicked, you create 2 1/1s, and it does go well in green-white. Illusionist for blue-green, Bark Weave Crusher is not, I don't remember that card being particularly great in DMU. There is a Micromancer. We don't have any targets for it right now. It is a good card, though. I'm going to take Scout the Wilderness. There's a Shore Up. I'm just not seeing a lot of great blue cards, per se. And I think green-white has proved itself to be most open. He says, as there's literal 0 green-white cards. Now, there is a blue-white card here. Which could be interesting. So this is I remember this being pretty okay. 4 mana 3/2 flyer. When it dies, look at the top 2, 1 in your hand, 1 in your graveyard. But Protect the Negotiators in a blue-white deck I think is going to end up being pretty good as well. So we're kind of still towing that line. Haven't exactly made up our mind yet here. Now there's some decent-ish cards. Flowstone Infusion pretty good, but we're out of red. Territorial Morrow. Yeah, it's just a 5 mana 4/4. That's all it could ever be. This could only ever be a 6 mana 4/6. So we're going to take Magnagoth Sentry here as a 4 mana 4/4 with Reach, as opposed to Stall for Time. I'm thinking our green is better than our blue-white. And that was pick 8. So pick 9. I think if the Juniper Order Root Weaver comes around, we know that green-white is open. And if it doesn't, either someone made a mistake not realizing that its color identity is green-white, or somebody else is in green-white, which would not be good for us. And it did come back. So I think green-white is where we want to be this draft. Regardless of having picked up a couple of extra commanders here, I think green-white is our best bet. Yeah, so this is a black-white. This is black-green. Can't take either of those. Guess I'll take the Root Walla. I mean, it's a 2 mana 2/2 that can pay 4 to make it a 4/4 for a turn. That seems fine, rather than taking a Suspect Negate on the splash. Now, we're still open, like if we open like a blue bomb in the next pack, which I believe is Wilds of Eldraine, we could take it. But I think right now my default is going to be green-white here. So we're looking at putting these cards to the side. I already have a Broken Wings, can't use another one. Nobody's playing red-white, it looks like, so I'll take the turtle, I guess. Put this to the side, and this is what our deck is kind of looking like right now, with some blue options. Well, I mean, I say nobody's taking red-white. I mean, nobody needs this card technically, because if you want to use it as your commander, you just can. I guess I'll take the Sojourner, but this isn't a card I really expect to play in any scenario. Yeah, this card was really good in blue-green. So, you know, Vineshaper Prodigy. 4 mana 2/2, look at the top 3, get one out of your hand, or a 2 mana 2/2 in blue-green specifically, and then a Barkweave Crusher, just another card we could play. Okay, so we've still got outs. I think we're like 70% to be green-white and like 30% to be a combination of either blue-white or blue-green here. And I think the first few packs, or first few picks of this next pack are going to decide that for us here. Okay. Copy Enchantment, no thank you. Graceful Takedown, pretty good. Return from the Wilds, Commune with Nature, Sleight of Hand. There is the Elusive Otter, though. This is a blue-green card specifically. Like, it could only go in blue-green. Now, I guess it's either the Otter or the Graceful Takedown is, I think, our options here. But Graceful Takedown only cares about enchanted creatures. And up to one other. So I guess, 2 mana Bite Down is kind of the baseline for this. But the question is, should I pass on the takedown in the event that blue-green is where I want to be? What are we giving up to play blue-green? We're giving up a Take Up the Shield, several 2-drops, but we're getting Vineshaper Prodigy Tatiova as another commander. I'm going to take the Otter and see if that ends up working out here. We've got an Evolving Wilds, which can go in any deck. We've got Garrup's Uprising. I do really like Royal Treatment. We're pretty darn close to guaranteeing we're playing green at this point. I think blue-white is off the table. So Royal Treatment can go in either of those decks. Tough Cookie's also quite a good card. It's just the thing is, you have to think about these cards out of the context of their format, because our deck is much different than just a regular old Wilds of Eldraine deck, where Tough Cookie was great. But Royal Treatment, I think, is quite good. Got an Evolving Wilds, like I said. Obira's Attendant, I don't mind. Evolving Wilds is really good with Tatiova. I'm hoping maybe we could pick up an Evolving Wilds in the next few packs, because we do have 3 packs left after this. And Royal Treatment, I'm pretty sure, is going to make our deck almost no matter what. So let's take the Royal Treatment here. Doubling Season. Okay, green card's only Toadstool Admirer. And blue card is only Spell Stutter. That is a little concerning here. I'm not taking any card that's not green or blue. I mean, I guess there's the white cards here. So 3 mana to put a stun counter on something, and then whenever you tap an untapped creature an opponent controls, put a counter on something. We've got the Archon's Glory +2/+2. Gains flying and lifelink if you want to bargain something. Got a 3 mana 2/3 Vigi. Yeah, I think I'll just take the Archon's Glory as a combat trick in a green-white deck. And I do really want to start deciding my color pretty soon, I think. This is concerning that green is this cut. Dutiful Griffin, 5 mana 4/4 flyer. Usually not gonna matter with the second ability. Sanctuary, no. Coralsmith. I mean, maybe. Vantress Transmuter, maybe. I mean, both of these are like fine whatever, I guess. I don't think I need the Dutiful Griffin even in green-white. I'm not thrilled with how this is going so far, if we're being honest. I don't think I'm going to miss a Transmuter. Alright, that's a late Candy Grapple. Johan's Stopgap I remember being quite good. Misleading Motes is kind of essentially another Uncharted Voyage. We've also got Into the Fey Court, draw 3, create a 1/1 flyer. Leaping Ambush and Hatching Plans. When it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, we don't really have ways to synergize with that. Alright, white is now being cut. I just can't make a decision on which way to go. I don't think our blue is very good at all. We have the Otter, the Prodigy, the Tatiova, the Voyage, all that's fine. We don't need any of these green or white cards, so I guess I'll take a blue card here. Tempest Heart, Spider Food, these cards don't matter. So Aquatic Alchemist, 2 mana, 1/3, cast an instant or sorcery, gets +1/+0. This is kind of like Faithless Looting with a 4 mana 3/4 trample on it that could potentially get bigger. I could take another sideboard card here. I think I'll take the other sideboard card. I don't think I'm going to miss either of these necessarily. It's a nice commander if you're red-white, but I think we've determined nobody is. Garrick's Uprising. I just don't think we have the cards to make that really work. Maybe we could just take a Misleading Motes. There's a Stockpiling Celebrant here as well. Didn't even see that. That's not horrible. Living Lectern, Diminisher Witch, Garrick's Uprising. I just cannot decide. I'm going to take the Motes, I think. Alright, Witch Stalker. Oh no, this is not the one from original Eldraine. Okay, now there's a lot of good green. Now it's only the colors that we're playing now. What is going on? 2 mana 3/1 trample, and then maybe sometimes you can get it back. That's pretty good in either of our decks. Clothier fine. Hero fine. Let's take the Vanguard. Commune with Nature. Don't think Copy Enchantment's making it. I don't think Plunge into Winter's making it. Guess I'll take the Commune with Nature. Yeah, not thrilled here. Garrick's Uprising, Skybeast Tracker. I guess I'll take the Uprising at this point. I don't know if it'll end up making our deck. There's a chance it could. But I do need to make a decision, like a few picks ago, as far as which deck I'm playing here. It's either blue-green or green-white. Let's just hope in the next pack, which I believe is Neon Dynasty. No, Thunder Junction? No. One of the two. Neon Dynasty or Thunder Junction, that we just get like a busted green-white rare, and then that decides it. I think our green-white is more assertive, but in Brawl you also start with 25 life, so aggro may not be the best plan. I guess Protect the Negotiators is out too if we're not playing blue-white. Yeah, just a bunch of, white cards still. I don't think I'm playing any of these though. Like, all these are just very synergistic with Wilds of Eldraine, which we are not drafting around particularly. I could play the Coralsmith, technically. I already took one of these, so I don't need another. Okay, alright, need some help really quick here. Give me something good. So, Elusive Otter and Tatiova are the main reasons that we are kind of in blue-green here. What do we got? Target creature gets +1/+1 and flying until end. I remember befriending the moths. I don't think it was super great. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a counter on it. Beginning of your end step, an enchantment was put into your graveyard from the battlefield. You can return it to your hand. How good even is that? in a deck that isn't really building around enchantments. I mean, it's fine, I guess. We don't want Goshen Tai. It's a pretty bad pack. I think I just have to take the green card here. And maybe we wheel Befriending with Moths, and we take a commune with nature, commune with spirits, different cards. Golden Tail Disciple, I mean, maybe we end up with enough enchantments that this ends up being kind of relevant. We do still have this entire Neon Dynasty pack. So let's take the Kami here. Again, I think I need to default to green cards when in doubt, because I know I'm playing green. Tameshi, whenever more non-creature permanents are returned to hand, this is a blue-white, so I can't play it. Blue-white, Light the Way, no. Tamio's Completion, fine. I do like Greater Tanuki, that was a pretty good card. 6 mana, 6/5 trample, you can also discard it for like a rampant growth effect. That's pretty good. Like I said, just kind of leaning towards green cards when possible is going to be important here. So let's go ahead and take the Greater Tanuki. Weaver of Harmony, interesting. Hotshot Mechanic, we're not really going to be playing Mighty Vehicles. Era of Enlightenment could be interesting. Season of Renewal, maybe. From an enchantment source. Other enchantment creatures you control. How many of those are we even going to have? One? Maybe a couple from this pack? Is that even good? Era of Enlightenment. Hotshot Mechanic is just a 1 mana 2/1. That's really all it does. Season of Renewal could be interesting. We've got some blue cards here. Awakened Awareness. No thanks. Armguard Familiar, no thanks. Trespassers. I think I might just take the Era of Enlightenment, and by taking this, I think I'm basically saying, like, I'm just gonna play green-white. Ooh, I remember this card being insanely great. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature or vehicle you control. It gains Vigilance for 2 chapters, then you return it to the battlefield as a 5/5 Vigilance haste. Yeah, that's going in the deck. There's a Jukai Trainee, which could be interesting. Tamio's Completion, Mnemonic Sphere. No white cards at all. That's a little concerning. I don't think white is particularly open, but I think our green-white is better than our green-blue. But definitely enjoy getting Tales of Master Sashiro in there. Yeah, I just don't think our blue is good enough. Even though Tetiova is a really great card, Boseiju, that's a great pickup, I think. Befriending the Moths, we could wheel the other one. I don't care too much about these two cards. I think I'm locking in green-white here now. I think it's I don't know how big of an advantage it is to pick up an additional commander, but our blue is just not very good. We never really saw great blue cards. In our green-white, we've got a lot of good cards here. You know, the Anthem, Prideful Parent helps, Savior's good. You know, there's just some decent cards here. I'm going to take the Boseiju here. I think that's a pretty nice, flexible card for us. And I hope I can get a Befriending the Moths at some point. Pick 9, we know there might be one wheeling. We'll have to see. Okay, we already have an Era, so we're not going to take another. We don't have a ton of removal, so I think I have to take the Intercessor's Arrest. So 3 mana, can't attack or block, can't be activated, etc. Removal is one thing I've noticed that we are severely lacking in. Got Destroy Evil and a couple of sideboard cards here. So let's take the Intercessor's Arrest. And then next pack is Thunder Junction. There's some good white cards in Thunder Junction. I remember the white uncommons in Thunder Junction being quite good. There's a Brute suit, a Dragonfly suit, Careful Cultivation. So you can basically a 2-mana 1/1 mana dork or 3-mana 1+1/+3 reach that's also mana dork. I don't think that's super great. Geothermal Kami I don't think has the synergies we want it to. So do I want a vehicle here? The question is, if I do, which one? Guess I could take the Dragonfly suit. It's a 3-mana 3/2 Flyer Crew one. Or a 3-mana 4/3 Vigilance Crew one. Let's take the Brute suit. I don't think either are super great, but I mean, it's kind of the best we have. All right, another Cultivation versus a Lucky Offering. I think I'll take the Cultivation this time. I don't like either of them necessarily. Commune with Spirit's the only card we could really consider here. I think we're fighting with someone for green-white, unfortunately. You know, we're almost 4 packs in, fully 4 packs in, and I think myself and another player at this table are fighting fighting each other for green-white, which is not a spot you want to be in. And honestly, I think there's also a blue-green drafter, so I think black is pretty cut off, so I think there's at least 2 black drafters probably. Heir of the Ancient Fang is the only thing I could play here, so we'll take that. What else could I potentially put into here? I mean, I don't really think any of these cards are very good. I mean, if I had my way, I wouldn't play that. Hope to not play the Brute suit, the Cultivation, the Heir. I mean, everything else is okay. Everything else is fine, I think. We are playing a 60 card deck, so we want to get this number up to about 35, 37 or so. Okay, the Hotshot Mechanic came back. I mean, as a 1-mana 2/1, there are worse cards. Okay, Trainee came back. 2-mana 2/2 that, you know, has to be blocked and becomes a 3/3. It doesn't have to be blocked, but when it is blocked, becomes a 3/3. That's another 2-drop. We got a lot of 2s here, so I think this Anthem is going to go a long way in our deck. We don't need another Heir of Ancient Fang. I'm just going to hate draft something just because we can't even use this second Heir, so there's no point in taking it. This could be interesting. I mean, if we think of this as a combat trick, it's not horrible. 2 mana to give +3/+3 and reach until end of turn. I mean, and then a Geothermal Kami. Okay, so, gosh, I think, like I said, if someone else is in green-white, I think we got a lot of green and white cards really, really late there. Like, I think we're just getting a little bit unlucky with the packs that are open. These are just not very good packs, at least for us. Is it too much to ask to get like a busted green-white rare that I can use as my commander? Because one of these 2 commanders is really not that good. All right, what do we got? Oh, it's a blue-green rare. Got a Drover Grizzly. It's a 3-mana 4/2. Goes well with Garrick's Uprising. There's a Trained Errinx here as well, which I do remember to be very good. Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Errinx here. Sheriff of Safe Passage, I remember not being super great. If I could wheel this Drover Grizzly, pick 9, that would be outstanding. Decisive Denial is a blue-green card, but we're just locked into green-white at this point. There's not anything we can do to change that. So let's go ahead and take the Trained Errinx. Did not really luck out. Armadillo, no. So this is 2-mana untap all creatures. Target creature gains double strike. Not great. Voracious Varmint, 2-mana 2/2 Vigi. Sack it to destroy an artifact or enchantment. I guess that's what I'll take here. Everything else is just not for us. 3 steps ahead. Can't play it. Marauding Sphinx, pretty good. Can't play it. Like I said, I had to make that green-white versus blue-green decision at some point in the middle of that draft, and, you know, here we are playing green-white, so it's what we're doing. Vengeful Townsfolk, Bristlepack, Sentry, Inventive Wingsmith, that's it. It's a Loan Shark, which is good. I guess I could play a Townsfolk. Whenever one or more other creatures you control die, put a counter on it. It's not horrible. I don't remember Wingsmith being particularly good. Let's take the Townsfolk here. I would love some more removal. I think we have 1 removal spell if you don't count Destroy Evil. Got just the Arrest here. That's not good. I would love to end up with 3 or 4 at least. So like Lassoed by the Law or something is a card I remember from Thunder Junction that was quite good. It's a Caustic Bronco. Couldn't take it there. There's a Creosote Heath, which isn't bad, but there's a Sterling Keykeeper. Man, see, like I said, all green cards gone and only 1 white card left. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Keykeeper over the Heath, I think. I want to make sure I end up with enough, but we're going to have enough playables, probably. And this is expensive, but I mean, you know, we have to... This deck is going to want to push a little bit of damage. So the Keykeeper could help in doing that. We really need some help from the end of this pack and from the Amonkhet Remastered pack. I think this deck is quite weak right now. Especially considering it's a little bit more on the aggressive side, and you start with 25 life in Brawl, which I think just instantly favors late game decks. Which means maybe blue-green would have been better, but oh well. All green cards gone. There's just a Thunder Lasso, which I don't remember being super great, but I mean, maybe it's playable. There's also a Mirage Mesa, which like just could go in our deck as a dual land. Would I rather the Thunder Lasso though? I think I'm going to take the Thunder Lasso. This card actually seems decent here. That would have been a great potential card, but I do like Spinewood's Paladin. See, now there's actually some decent cards. Goes well with our Garrick's Uprising. Can't play red-green. Don't think the Sentry's what we want, so we'll take the Spinewood's Paladin here. But that's the kind of commander you'd be looking for. All right. Another Sterling Keykeeper, which we can't play. Conduit Pylons. Tornado for the sideboard. Sterling Hound. Sterling Hound's not like the worst creature in the world. I think our deck is just going to be like, play a bunch of creatures, play a bunch of combat tricks, and hope you can't board wipe or kill them. I'm pretty sure that's all that we're going to be doing, so let's just take a 3-mana 3/2, I guess. Okay, Wingsmith, Drover Grizzly. This is pick 8. We could wheel the other Drover Grizzly, but I don't want to risk it. I could take this Wingsmith, but I don't like that card. I don't even think it would make the deck, but Drover Grizzly is pretty good to help with Garruk's Uprising. It's another nice aggressive 3-drop. Can't take another Keykeeper, so go ahead and take the Grizzly here. And if it does come around pick 8, or pick 9, I mean, then oh well. I think Amonkhet Remastered was more of a pretty aggressive format, if I remember correctly. So hopefully we get some aggressive white creatures. I remember it being built around deserts, which maybe we should have taken the Creosote Heath knowing that. But boy, do we need removal, which we're not going to get in this pack. All right, I guess I'll take the Sheriff here. Hope to not play it, I think. All right, Armadillo, also hope to not play it. None of this matters. I guess Pulverizer could be played by someone else. I don't know. Looks like we did not wheel the Creosote Heath, which tells me that someone else is in green-white, specifically, which is what I expected. All right, we need like at least 2 removal spells in this last pack, but like 3 or 4 would be great. I guess I'll hate draft the failed fording. Hindering Light will not be good against us, as we will not be targeting them. Yeah, so the Creosote Heath didn't wheel, so someone else is in green-white, which is bad news for both of us, but great news for the other 6 drafters at the table. I'm wondering if someone else was in blue-green. All right, give me a 3-mana Oblivion Ring effect. All right, I don't know this set as well. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of reading. The only green card, 2-mana 3/1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, untap target creature or land. Protection of Heckma is garbage. 5-mana 3/3 flyer, Cycling Embalm. Okay. All right, 5-mana 3/3 flyer, ETBs gain 3, and that's the whole pack. Yeah, that's not great. I guess I'll take the Initiate's Companion. And maybe Oketra's Attendant would be the second card here. Yeah, I guess I'll just take the companion and lean into the aggressive nature of the pack, or the deck. Okay, what are these cards? Let's see. I'm just going to reserve this for a moment. You may exert it as attacks. If you do, untap all other creatures you control as a 4-mana 4/4. That's pretty good. It's not legendary. 4-mana 5/4 haste enters, put a -1/-1 counter on a creature you control. Okay. 3-mana +3/+3 and flying. Whenever a zombie enters, you can pay 1. If you do, return it from graveyard to your hand. Doubt we have a lot of zombies. As long as you control a desert, or there is a desert in your graveyard, gets +1/+0 and has trample. Don't think we're going to be having a lot of deserts. -1/-1 counters on target creature with flying, with cycling. This also enters, make a 1/1, and give something +1/+1 and first strike. This will be pretty good on the wheel, but I think I have to take the on-crop champion. This card is basically exactly what this deck wants. We could wheel something decent out of this pack here, but we'll take that. Forsake the Worldly, exile artifact or enchantment. 2-mana 2/2, untap a land, exert it, untap 2 lands. 2-mana 2/2, you can exert it when it attacks. If you do, it gets +1/+1, can't be blocked by creature's power 2 or less. This is probably more along what our deck is trying to do, so I think I'll take Ronus's Stalwart, and we have all of the 2-drops here. Alright, can't play that. 3-mana 3/4, put a -1/-1 counter on creature you control, another Initiate's Companion, or a 3-mana 2/4, or an Evolving Wilds. I think I can't play the other Initiate's Champion, just remembered that. I don't think I made that mistake yet. So I think I just have to take the Evolving Wilds. I don't think I'd play either of these cards, even if they wheeled. So we'll take Evolving Wilds here. Maybe I could play Brute Suit, we'll see. Maybe I could play Careful Cultivation. Both of those aren't out of the possibility. Alright, what do we got? +2/+2 and flying. We got a desert here. This is pretty good. 3-mana or 4-mana 2/4. Add a mana exerted to add 2 mana. Or 2-mana 1/2, mana dork. We're not really interested in being a mana dork. I think the desert seems pretty good for us. Mighty Leap also wouldn't be horrible, but let's go ahead and take the cycling desert here. Maybe we can end up with one of these Forsake the Worldlies for the sideboard. We have a lot of artifact or enchantment hate. But we do not have a lot of power in our deck. If our opponent plays a bomb and it's a creature, we just basically lose because I have effectively no removal and can't attack through it most of the time. So this will be interesting. I'd have to review this draft, but I feel like I didn't see a lot of removal just like in general. Like there just wasn't a lot of removal spells available. Alright, 3-mana 2/1 flyer. Whenever it attacks, untap a creature. So target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You can remove a -1/-1 counter from it. It's probably not relevant. There's also just a green desert. I think I'll take the green desert here. This would be very good for red-green. Maybe I'd play a Dauntless Aven. I don't know. But let's take the desert. Wow, lots of green and white cards. What do these do? There's a Dauntless Aven. There's the Vitalist. The desert. Gains 6. No. 3-mana 2/2. Destroy an artifact. And artifact center tapped. 3-mana 2/2 flash. ETBs. Exile target creature. If attacked or blocked, return it to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. That could be used offensively or defensively. That's kind of interesting. We have 2 deserts for the Sidewinder Naga. I'm going to try the Vizier of Deferment. That seems interesting. Yeah, it's still just no removal. I don't know how good this Garrick's Uprising is going to be, but I'll decide that in deck building. I mean, I've got like maybe 5 or 6 triggers for it. It's kind of a wild format. 2 mana 1/3 dies, draw a card. 2 mana 1/3, whenever a creature token enters, gain a life, and you can embalm it. I don't think I'm playing either of these. Guess I'll take the Feral Prowler. I mean, that with, like, you know, Favor of Jukai or something is pretty good. But I doubt I'm playing it. Alright, so we're on the wheel. I guess I could take the Aven here now. But I'm probably not playing it. I guess I'll take the Sidewinder Naga over the Stinging Shot. We have so many, you know, flying sideboard cards that I think I'll just take the creature here. Considering, like I said, we're just going to be dumping creatures on the battlefield and hope we can go wide enough to somehow deal lethal to our opponent before they stabilize with the bomb that we don't have. Alright, did get one of the Forsake the Worldlies for the sideboard. Not horrible. Yeah, both of these came back, but they're both, like, not very good. I mean, I'll put that here for now, but I don't think I'll be playing it. Got 51 cards with, what, 4 lands here? So 47, which means out of this I'm going to need to cut probably about 10 to 12 cards. All right, and that concludes the draft portion for this top 8 mega draft. Not happy with how it went, if we're being honest. Yeah, not particularly. Okay, got it anyway. Maybe we'll play it. Who knows? We'll see. But this is the deck that we ended up with, and I'm gonna go ahead and work on everything I gotta do as far as the Discord and things here, and I'll make some cuts to some deck building with this for you here. All right, so I've brought my decks over to sealeddeck.tech, my deck, I guess, and I've got cards on the sideboard already, as well as the cards in our main deck here right now. Now, for a 60 card deck, usually you'll want somewhere around 25 lands. So, I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lands we're going to run for sure, which puts us at 21. So I'm going to go ahead and just, for now, add 21 more, puts 25 lands in our deck, which means we need to cut 14 cards here. And then I can decide what I want to do from there. So, the cards in the creature spot that are a little bit less than others, I'll go ahead and, I mean, if I'm at a 4/4 flyer, I guess is fine. Barkweave Crusher, Kami might not have synergies. We really just don't have a lot of elves here, but I mean, it's a 4 mana 3/4 reach that attacks and gains a life. This doesn't seem very good. I don't think that's very good. mean, these we just got a lot of cards over here in the 2-drop slot, and they're all like decent 2-drops, I guess. Feral Prowler doesn't really fit our game plan as well. Faith Bonder, I don't remember being super great. Hotshot Mechanic is fine. Probably getting rid of the Shed Weakness. In fact, I'll just do that right now. The Brute Suit, Cultivation, Scout the Wilderness. I think Favor of Jukai could be interesting. That's almost like more of a 2-drop. Need the Arrest. Thunder Lasso's fine. And then the Garrup's Uprising depending on our creature count up here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw most of these over here for now that I'm sure about. Puts us at 68. I think I want to make sure my creature count is very high. The Naga is a 3-mana 3/2 that might very rarely get +1/+0 and trample. I don't think that's going to happen very often because these are also cycling lands. Currently, the Garruk's Uprising has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 triggers. Is that good? 6 triggers in your whole deck? It gives all your creatures trample, but like our creatures aren't even that big, and most of the creatures already have trample that are big. I just don't think it's necessarily a Garruk's Uprising deck. We don't really need like a ton of extra lands from the Scout the Wilderness, but like 5 mana for 2 1/1s and a land. And if we're like super mana screwed, we could just use it for a land. I mean, it's not horrible. I don't think we need the Careful Cultivation, and Bruiser doesn't necessarily count as a creature in the way that I want it to. It just does make some of these things slightly more relevant in the late game, though. Thunder Lasso seems interesting. Air of Enlightenment, is that just too slow? It's another enchantment for something like Kami of Transience. I guess I could just get rid of these two. That would put me at 3 more cards to cut. Keep coming back to the Scout the Wilderness. I just don't think I have room for it in the kind of deck that I'm building here. We have so many 2s. Are there any 2s that just don't cut the cake? I mean, the Root Wall is really just a 2-mana 2/2. You can pay 4 to give it +2/+2 is the best it's going to be. That's probably among the worst of our 2-drops. Sterling Hound seems okay. I mean, it is Surveil. We don't really care about our yard. 25 creatures, plus 2 of these down here. What's our enchantment count? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... basically 7. It's not great. How good is this Dwynen? I mean, I could cut a land, go to 24 lands, but that ratio doesn't seem super great to me. So 24 divided by 60 would be like running exactly 16 lands in a 40 card deck. That's not horrible. I mean, this could be a 16 land deck if we were thinking in normal limited terms. Sorry, I forgot to turn on my light for the face. Now you get to see me. Yeah, 16 lands seems okay. I mean, this could also just kind of be over here. This could be plotted over here. The top of our curve is basically right there. This is the only 5-drop. I think 16, or in this case 24 lands seems fine. So this would be the final deck then here, right? Yeah, pretty much. That's what I would be running, and this would be my sideboard options up here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plains, 10 forests. I don't think maybe I could, no, I got a lot of white down here. I think 10 plains, 10 forests seems fine. Got a lot of 2s that are also green, but still enough white cards. Yeah. All right, well, I am not thrilled with this deck, especially considering that we're playing with 25 life. You know, we've also got a couple of commanders that we're going to run here. We didn't get any legendary creatures that we can run as our commander in a green-white deck. So our 2 commanders, and I can add them here now, and here they are. Here are our 2 commanders. So it's white, white, green. Power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control, and if one or more creature tokens you are created under your control, you get a 1/1 plus those tokens. And then this is a 5-mana 4/4 that whenever it becomes tapped, you put a counter basically on all your X1 creatures, which is not a lot. So we didn't get access to great commanders here, which is why I held on to that Tatiova for so long. But like I said, I didn't have really any good blue cards at that point, and maybe I should have held on for a better commander, but, you know, this is what we got, and this is what we will be running here. All right, before we left for the day, I wanted to give you a quick look at everyone else's pool of drafted cards. We don't get to see their exact deck build, but we get to see their pool of cards to make sure they aren't pulling any funny business, and we're starting with Rez deck here, who looks to be in a blue-red deck. Didn't look to get an additional commander here, so they're playing the 2 DMU blue-red commanders. Slick Sequence, what else? 3 steps ahead. Not a lot of rares in here, so that's not too bad. Hearth Elemental, Monstrous Rage, Annihilation for removal. You know, there's Supreme Will for counterspells, Mystic. So a good little blue-red deck here. Who is next? Seething Octopus looks to have drafted, I assume, blue-green based off of their pool. Lots of green cards. Doc Orlok is the only additional commander they could have drafted. What are some of the lots of rares here too? So Collected Company, Spinner of Souls, Feral Encounter, Elvish Archivist. Driven to Despair won't be able to be in a blue-green deck, unfortunately. Mindsinger won't either because it has red in its abilities. Approach of the Second Sun. Wow, that's interesting. So we've got a blue-green deck here. So blue-green was contested. Sepulcher looks to have drafted black-blue and did pick up a Zur Eternal Schemer. So could be playing one of their decks as an Esper deck, potentially. There's a Dreadwing Scavenger in here as well as a Siphon Insight. 2 Karns. Wow, okay. Good for you, I guess. Vesuvian Duplimancy. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a single, create a copy of it. Okay, pretty good. Rags to Riches, Lich's Conquest, Bankbuster. Yeah, their deck looks quite good for blue-black here, I think. Peas of Crab is up next, and it looks like they've got a black-red deck, I would assume, as well as having drafted Rowan, Scion of War. So 4/2 Menace that can make your things cheaper. That could be a potential additional commander. They did draft an additional Garna, which if they want to put into the main deck. Rakdos joins up at knife point. And what are some of the other ones? Cut to Ribbons here. Krenko Mob Boss. Yeah, that's the kind of card. If we play against them, we probably just lose because I have no removal. I have 1 removal spell that could deal with that. And here is what I thought happened. Jordan, JM Tron, looks to also be in green-white. So we cut each other off of green-white here. They've got Miriam Herd Whisper, which is a legendary creature, but probably doesn't look like a great commander, necessarily. I mean, it's cheap. It's a 2-mana 3/2 that you could recast, so I guess that's fine. There's a Good Fortune Unicorn. They also have an Anthem of Champions. And, you know, just, they took that Mossbeard Ancient from me. Yeah, the doubling season, not that they're probably playing that, but just took a lot of the cards that I would have loved to have also take here. And that is where the rest of our cards went, unfortunately. Next up is Cardigan. Black-white, it looks like. Got a Wayward Servant, no additional commanders here. Invoke Justice, Caustic Bronco. Scarab God would have been nice. Maybe they fit, no, they're not blue at all, so that would have been a nice commander. Got that Sarah Angel that we passed, and yeah, just a good old black-white deck. And the final one is the deck of Lotta, who was the winner of the 23-7 record of the regular deck, who's also black-red, which I think, if I remember correctly, we had a black-red deck here earlier. No, blue-red? Maybe not. Oh, yes, we did. Here, so there's 2 black-red drafters and 2 green-white drafters here. So Lotta's got Lagomos, who is already given to us as a commander. Tribute to Hirobi, Runescar Demon, Cut to Ribbons. Lots of Cut to Ribbons going around. So yeah, those are where everybody ended up. No red-white drafters as I thought. And as I also thought someone else is also in green-white. So that is today's draft. You can tune back into the channel on Wednesday for the first match of the top 8 draft. And that'll do it for this one. I'll see you then.